Wait, where are you? Why am I double? What? It says you're backstage? No, you're supposed to be front stage. Yeah, no, hold on. Let me see here. Hey, we're LinkedIn Live Land, technical difficulties. I don't know why it's doubling me up, but it's not doubling you up. That is weird. Are I mean, you hit join the broadcast, right? Is there a drop down arrow on your picture to the left? Wow. Yeesh. Let me see here.
Hi. Looks like I'm with you now.
Now you're with me. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Well, hello everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn Live Lunch Hour. We're on a little an hour later, so you can enjoy your lunch because I'm sure that most of you are probably working from home. And today, my special guest is Lila Smith of Say Things Better, and she is one of the most amazing people I know. She's an amazing communicator. Thanks. She's got verve, she's got personality, she's got spunk, and she's helped level up my game. And Lila, welcome to the show. I'm just so honored to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing your own verve and spunk to this show.
Yeah.
Really excited to share our combined energy with
Definitely
a group of people who are probably ready to tear their hair out at home today.
Yeah. Like, so this weekend, everybody's home, like from college and from work. And so it's like, 10 years, I've gone back to 10 years ago when I've got the entire family here. So the dynamics are okay right now. Should be interesting in about a week.
Yeah. I've got friends who are parents of small children who have started, early in the morning. And then by the time it's 9:30, have already done 45 activities, have monitored their child actively. And now they're supposed to get to work. I don't know how single parents or stay-at-home parents do a lot of this stuff with monitoring distractions and all of that. But
well, it's interesting.
Everyone's figuring it out.
That's right. No, I was talking to or texting back and forth with Judy Fox, and she's a single mom, and she's her parents live where she lives, and she says that she takes her son over to her parents so that she can enjoy her cheer time, her own time, and it's pretty interesting because. People said that I read a couple of articles, one on the Atlantic and one on the Wirecutter, that says that even though we are in this new world and people are going to get lonely, whether you're with a family or you're by yourself. So today we're going to be talking about socialization in the new era, some things that are happening. As companies are starting to either lay off or furlough employees for a period of time. How long is this going to last? We don't know, but we're gonna lay things out here. And I've got the communications expert here who can just tell it like it is. So Lila, just from your standpoint, I know, and unfortunately you've been ill for the last 5 or 6 days, and then you kind of come out of it. And I'm sure you've been tracking the news, but what's going on? What is this new normal that we're in, and how are we going to socialize?
It's not that new. I think that there are a lot of workforces who have already been ahead of the curve, transforming into a digital community for their office, for their environment, especially so that they can work with top talent who don't necessarily all live in the same place. We live in a global economy, a global community. We're sourcing global talent, and a lot of the companies who are at the very top of their game already have systems in place to be able to adjust because this has been their normal for a long time. I've been working mostly remotely for a long time and with people from all over the world. For the companies who are finding themselves in a lot of pain right now, it's probably because they didn't even have a contingency plan. So, there are natural disasters are not new, right? They're in the Bible. You can see them like as far back as we know of.
Right.
It's not like it's a new thing that there could be a tornado in Texas. There could be a hurricane in Florida. Right. There are all of these things. These things happen. And if you're not taking advantage of remote technology as a company, then you are willfully leaving yourselves and your teams unempowered to continue business as close to normal as possible. So you're behind. If you're feeling the pain, acknowledge that you are feeling this pain because you brought on yourself by not being prepared, by not having the right technology, and use this at this moment as an impetus to light a fire under all of your seats and get up and take action. Hire a consultant to help you tech up all of your operations. Use this opportunity to show your workforce, if you haven't shown them before, how much trust you have in them to work autonomously, how much communication you have. If you don't have communication plans, I can be hired for that. This shouldn't hurt as bad as I think it is for a lot of companies.
Yeah, I'm starting to see, well, and I think, one of the things that you and I have talked about and putting together is, I think this is going to be the time, even for recruiters or sourcers in HR, as things slow down, now's the time to kind of pony up on your skills and say, how can I become better so that when the new turnaround does come back, right? So, I've got a few clients lined up to do some training and on recruiting.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. What's that?
I'm not surprised. Yeah. I mean, I think especially for recruiters who have had like in office, people who are on teams to the office, all of a sudden you're starting to see that there were a lot of conversations that were social, that were taking up a lot of the time in the office. And that's there for a reason, right? You need that social culture in order to feel like you're part of a team. But in the absence of that, there are some things that we can do digitally to stay connected. And you're also finding yourselves possibly with more self-development time. People who are afraid of maybe getting laid off, right? What are you going to do if that does happen? You better be the first one to have upskilled during this time.
Yeah, if you've got your skills and your ducks in the row, if you will, then you're going to be in so much of a better place. And, the other interesting thing that I've been reading and seeing about, and there's been a lot of posts on LinkedIn, and I even mentioned it on a post yesterday, that it's time to reconnect, maybe put your phones down. So instead of being glued to the TV on CNN or Fox or MSNBC, whatever news show you like to watch, instead of being mesmerized by the same information over and over again, I could beat you into submission. And at some point, put the phone down, turn the TV off, read a book, talk to your family. And
your family.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to them. You want to talk to those people.
Right. I mean, it's the phone. And maybe this is a signal, and I'm not a super religious person, but maybe this is a signal from God to go, hey guys, you can socialize, but don't do it on the phone. Socialize with the people you're with in the house, or, go to an online event and, talk to others, find out what they're doing, and, pick up the phone and call somebody. Right.
I just bought a ticket to a remote, I guess it's a conference. It's like a speaker thing. Zach Messler posted about it on LinkedIn, that he's one of 22 speakers. The ticket price is like $22. Mm-hmm. And there are all of these different speakers who each one of them would be worth $1,000 to go and pay for a ticket to go and listen to. So it was such a great deal. And I snapped one up. I'm like, well, perfect. I'm going to be doing that from home then. Is that your remote team? Back.
I saw the Amazon guy. I saw the Amazon guy come into the door, and I was bracing for the doorbell.
You know what though? Like that is what happens when you're doing these remote conversations and you're at home. Some people have kids who are running around and are loud. There might be a loud cat here at some point. You've got dogs. It's just what it is. So I think that's part of the conversation now. That's part of the new normal. Right? That we have to be a little bit more casual, a little bit more relaxed about how formal we appear when we know we're working from home. Like it's my couch. Like I'm not going to move my couch so I can have this conversation.
Absolutely. So kind of if you've got questions for Lila or myself on how you're dealing with the situation. Any suggestions, feel free to put it in the comments on LinkedIn Live, and feel free to hit that forward arrow to share and let us know. It's a good time. We all should be having lunch if you're in the Central Time Zone. Maybe an early lunch or a late breakfast on the West Coast.
A brunch.
A brunch. I like it.
Yeah. And why not have a brunch if you're working from home?
So what are some of the things from a communication standpoint? You're a communications expert. So when you look at, how our leaders have communicated, and we've heard conflicting things from a leader who shall not be named, and the governors and all that. What do you think is important during this time from a communication standpoint, HR standpoint, on this? Have we done a good job? Could we have done better?
There's so many angles here. First of all, the communication for people and what to do. So for example, like I've had a cold, I'm sure it's just a cold. I did go to get tested yesterday for COVID-19 just to see, and they wouldn't give me a test because my fever hadn't reached 103. If I had seen that information somewhere online, I wouldn't have made the trip and I would have just stayed at home in self-quarantine. If there was one central place, I'm calling for the CDC, and I don't mind naming people. I don't mind naming leaders. President Trump should have been the one to step up and say, addressing the entire nation, here's where to go. Here's where the information is going to be. Here's what kind of questions you can ask. If there's one person we're all going to look to and ask for information, it should be the leader of the free world. So I'm asking for more from our president. I'm asking for more from the CDC, the Center for Disease Control. Where on that website is there what to do if you're not feeling well? How to know if you'll qualify for a test during the times when tests are scarce? So it should have like a checklist. If there was just a simple checklist, it would have saved a lot of people time and frustration. It'll clear up a lot of these phone lines that are clogged with people who are as frustrated as I was. And I'm just trying to do the right thing. I'll stay home and I'll stay in quarantine, but I'm trying to do the right thing. And it's very difficult because the communication is just not clear.
So how do you see in the foreseeable future, I've got my own opinions, which I'll share, in the event world, or, South by Southwest was canceled. The F8 conference, which is the Facebook Developers Conference, just major venues are shutting down. From casinos here in Dallas, you can't go to a bar or a restaurant for the next week, or gym. How are people going to get through this? Are people going to, how do people keep their chin up during this time? That's the biggest question. I know you probably don't have all the answers, but
sure I do. Look, when I was a little kid, my parents and family used to call me an opinionista, which is just a really nice way of saying know-it-all.
Right.
But yeah, I can give 100 suggestions for how to stay positive, how to stay active, and how to stay connected. So if people are at home and you're bored, the first thing that you can do is ask yourself if there's anything that you can do for your own health. So exercising at home, preparing a meal, and then 2, asking yourself if there's anybody else that is in your physical household first who could maybe use help with something. So offering help is a great way to fill your time, and it lifts your heart. And anything that you can do to be of service will connect you to your faith, if that's a thing to you, or to the people around you. So just looking first to, am I taking care of myself? And then, am I taking care of others? And then if you still have lots of time on your hands, you might want to look at what you were doing when you were in the office. So some introspection, some time to say, what have I been doing with my time during a full office day, if it's changed that much? Now, some people, I know you mentioned in-person events, there are some things that just, especially if you're in food service or construction, like there are things that physically have to happen in person.
Right.
But if your job is in an office from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m., there shouldn't be that much that you're doing in the office that you're not doing from home. So just ask yourself some simple questions like, what would I be doing right now? And what's a virtual way that I can still do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that companies have the ability to offer, remote services. I think conversations
Mhm.
should still be happening. And I think you have like financial institutions like banks, I think are going to be okay. On the loan side, I don't know how that's going to go. That'll be interesting. But it had a 0% interest rate. Lets everybody go buy a house if you can afford it.
Yeah.
Um, but the other thing is, in a lot of companies that I've spoken with, they're no longer recruiting right now. They some companies are, like the defense industry is still doing it, banking is
Mhm.
still doing it, um, technology is still doing it, and but there are companies that where face to face is required. So the hospitality, the restaurants, the event
Mhm.
management companies, they're suffering serious setbacks.
Yeah.
I know of one company where they have furloughed 90% of their workforce for
Wow.
the next 3 months,
Mhm.
and any offers that they had on the table as of last week were cut. They're no longer. So I think your point. I think recruiting professionals, and if HR professionals are doing recruiting, you no longer have the excuse that you don't have some time. You now do have that time, because if
Yeah.
positions are on hold, start building the pipelines. Uh,
And those relationships, investing in relationships with people, also every recruiter has experienced this where it's, I need someone yesterday, right? Except in 3 months from now, it's going to be, I need someone 3 months ago before the furlough started, and I need them up to speed now. Because as soon as the gates are back open, there's going to be a flood of need. And the companies who did take this time to build those relationships, make sure that pipeline was solid with quality talent, those are going to be the people who hurt the least when it's time to ramp back up and in.
yeah. So we got a comment from Kellen Barfield, who's a life
Hi,
sciences
Kellen.
professional. Hi, Kellen. She goes, people who want to work from home full time should be taking complete advantage of this by modeling what it would look like if they worked from home.
That's a really good point.
It
I'm putting
is.
together a document called Show Your Work Better, which I'm going to be sharing on the Say Things Better LinkedIn company page to help people who are just more like middle management and lower to show their boss and also show their teammates what the work that they're doing actually looks like, to share why they're doing it, what their current priorities are, who the people are they're communicating with, so that there's some transparency and people don't just think you're at home on vacation watching, daytime TV instead of being productive at work. So I'll be sharing something there to help people to create that framework and model for your very traditional conservative companies. This is what it would look like if you let me be remote, if you didn't constantly pass my desk with a new question or a new, hey, can you do this? Can you do this? Those little extra 5-minute tasks add
Well,
up.
and you're not gonna get those drive-bys anymore if you're when you're working from home.
Right. So this
And
should be an opportunity, as
yeah,
Kellen said, to like
the,
showcase this is how autonomous I can be.
absolutely. So GR Reddy, who's out of India,
Hey,
hey, we says we see the IT hiring by international companies in India as gig workers happening. Most of them are work from home. Do you think this trend would continue? Absolutely. I think if you're a gig worker now, I think there's a lot of opportunity to be
as I
had out
am.
there,
Right.
right?
Excuse
There's
me.
always going to be the little projects that these companies need, whether it's recruiting or it's sourcing or it's a marketing and communications project or an IT project. The gig economy is still there. Now, you might not be able to command the same hourly rate you would in a normal, whatever that is, economy. and what you're used to paying. So you may have to take a little cut in your hourly rate to make sure, because a lot of companies right now are, they're still trying to figure out, all right, what do we need to keep going with? What are we going to put on hold? I mean, and that's the whole odd thing is no one really planned for this, even though they saw it coming. And somebody had to have known in the United States that this eventually would make its way over here.
Well, every few years there's something, right? In 2014, there was Ebola again. I remember in the 90s, I think it was the 90s or early 2000s when there was the Ebola thing. And that was right around the time that Rene Russo was in that movie Outbreak, with the little capuchin monkeys with the face.
Yeah. Dustin Hoffman too.
Yeah. And so there was avian bird flu, there's mad cow disease. There are always things like this. It's not new. We have to be prepared for things that happen. And I mean, there are the matter, and we can discuss those in-person industries specifically if you want to. It's easy enough to say, like, look, if you're an IT worker in the gig economy, maybe look and see where your skills can be transferred to. Let's say you have worked for a lot of hotels. So, like, for example, Leonardo is a tech platform that disseminates information about hotel rooms and their rates out to all of the various reduced rate channels like Travelocity and Orbitz and all of those. So that tech platform is in service of the hospitality industry. Well, right now, the hospitality industry is taking a hit. Same with OpenTable, would be a tech platform serving a service-based industry where people would be going out. So those tech platforms could be taking a look right now to see, one, how can I continue to add value to my constituency, my customers, and also to my employees, and create that community, create that value, reinforce that branding around what we are known for. And look now to see if there's anything that's transferable about your technology that you can offer to other industries. So what if OpenTable, for example, started competing with ZocDoc, where you can create a doctor's appointment remotely, sign up for something and get different points. There are limitations with that platform. So maybe it's an opportunity to see, can any of my technology be transferred? Can I be strategically thinking about scaling out into other industries at this time? That's like, again, if you're tech. If you are in hospitality and you make your money from filling rooms, this is gonna hurt for a little while.
Yeah, but it'll be back. I mean, look, I don't think this is not the new way of doing things permanently. I don't think. I hope not. The only thing you kind of worry is if this thing goes into the summer and doesn't die out. They were talking about that today on CNN that, as the summer months come, then, this thing will die out. Well, maybe not. If this thing goes into the fall, now you're into a new flu season. And there could be, this could just be the new normal where a new thing like COVID-19 just pops up every year. But hopefully we've learned from it. You don't see the markets crashing or anything like that. So it's good. So
there are lessons that I think that we're all automatically learning just by experience. But do you want to talk for a minute about just how to stay connected with your teams, with the people in your office, with your audience, and just other people in the world?
Absolutely.
You're doing a virtual meetup, right? Within recruiting?
Oh, yeah. So next Thursday.
Talk about that for a minute?
Thanks. So next Thursday, I've created an event. It'll be an online event on my Zoom account. And I think I've already got like 15 people registered in the last couple hours that have signed up.
Nice.
But, it's just a way to continue the conversation. So to me, it's getting together to, have a drink by your side, have some nosh, and talk about recruiting and events. And we're going to, next week, it'll be Thursday, March 26th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Central. And we're going to talk about, how the recruiting is dealing with these different, the new way of doing things. And, try to go online like that for do it for like 3 or 4 months and see what happens. And then hopefully everything will kind of be back to normal. We can start touching elbows or giving hugs or maybe even shaking hands in some form or fashion, right? But I tell you, as a social person, a person who needs to be around others at times, this is difficult for me. I don't know about for you.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've had to save my voice because I've been sick, so
you were sick.
It's excuse me. It's already hard enough for me to not talk to people, but I've been on LinkedIn for over 1,000 consecutive days, and just commenting on other people's posts is a way that I have kept a conversation going with a huge group of people, with thousands of people for a long time. And it does make me feel less alone, even if I don't have a voice that's audible. And now it's coming back, but it helps me to be part of that conversation. So commenting on content, producing your own content, leading the conversations that you want to see had, using social media to be social, and up your media game in the process. That's a good idea. I love that you're doing a virtual meetup. People can plan these for themselves. There are plenty of online video platforms, but also, very small, like personal engagements with friends. My friend Shar offered our friend Kristen to do like a video dance party and imagination interview with her daughter Evie, so that she could engage her, on her behalf for like half an hour, an hour. And I just thought that was so nice. Just the idea of FaceTiming with each other or with each other's kids, getting some FaceTime, even if it's not FaceTime.
Right. And, reading stories to children.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Sarah Johnston asked me if I was going to be doing a communication camp or something like that, while, everybody's got their kids at home and they're like, someone do something with these people, please.
Right.
I've been thinking about that, like imagination games and interactive play and reading stories. And now that my voice is coming back, I might do that. But lots of people have access to either LinkedIn Live or Facebook Live or Instagram Live. If you can just put something out there, people will come. And if you're home by yourself and you're playing a game on your phone, maybe that's an opportunity.
No, get off your phone. Get off your phone.
I think that if you're looking on your phone in order to be social or to get resources, just if your intentions, setting those intentions first. Say, I'm going to mine whatever's on here for 30 minutes and see what I can find. Like this morning, I got an email from Planet Fitness and I forwarded it to my brother, who is the director of membership at a country club. So he's got a lot to be thinking about. And I forwarded him this email from Planet Fitness because I thought that they really handled well just the whole conversation. They were clear about what's going to happen with dues, which is you're going to continue to be billed, but the number of days between, now when we're closing our facilities and when we open again will be credited to your account, so you'll have extra days in the future. And they had this whole online community that they have taken this opportunity to promote. They're putting resources in there for people who are both employees and their members to stay healthy. And they're remaining the authority in their space. So I'm going to send them an email and let them know like how well I think they handled that, providing that kind of value to people and a place to gather.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and I think that, this is as you said, this is the chance for people to go online and be present, especially if you're going to find yourself in a reduction in force. Put yourself out there. I mean, I do like that where you say, while you weren't able to talk, you were able to continue the conversation by engaging on the platforms. And that's just as good as having a LinkedIn Live or a Facebook Live or Instagram Live event. That's why LinkedIn and Facebook and Insta and Twitter were created, for us to have online conversations. And that's pretty important. So here, I want to ask you another question. So I was thinking about, I've been thinking about this, everybody is mostly working from home. And let's say the worker who, in most cases, whether it's exempt or non-exempt, you wouldn't allow because there was this manager trust issue to say, hey, I'm, I just need people here.
Yeah.
We're all about having people here. And now could force a new and interesting time where people go, look, you let me work from home. I busted my hump. Here's what I got done. I've proven to you that I can work from home. So do you see a possible downfall in the commercial real estate where companies could save hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars on rent, where they finally figure out, hey, maybe companies don't need to be about having these locations and being on site all the time. Do you think
it could have an impact on commercial real estate? I mean, I could see that. I'm not the commercial real estate expert, but I think that there is something to creating a space, creating an environment. So I have a client, Circularis 8, which is an architecture firm out of London. They've created like the offices for Zoom and their new offices out there, Zoom Communications, and just for plenty of other really big name companies. And there's a reason why people who have on-site offices want people there in person besides just a trust issue. They want to create a space in which they want to create spaces to facilitate the kind of culture that they want, physical walls around, that you create things on. There's an Etsy office in Dumbo in Brooklyn with a live wall, with like things growing from it. And all of these architectural elements and design elements that are created to reinforce the culture and the space in a way that you just don't. There are some things that you aren't really able to scale out to people's home offices. That feeling of like, hey, can you just, what are you, can we all look at this physically at the same time and hold it in fashion, feeling a texture, a fabric, seeing how something interacts between two people physically. There are a lot of things that we interact with physically that are going to still need to be part of the conversation. So I think that there's still so much value in being there in person. Also, co-working spaces, like WeWork or I think it's called Spaces or Work 214 here in Dallas. There's VentureX. There are a bunch of different like co-working spaces. Yeah. And they're going to see a difference for a short period of time when people are social distancing and they're not putting themselves in places with lots of other people. But one of the reasons why people go to those spaces is because it's an inspiring space to get things done.
Right.
It's not just about seeing other people around you working and having that accountability, but the design, Soho House and the Network Bar, places where you walk in and you physically feel that you're elevated and you are immersed in a brand experience that communicates who you are and what you stand for and what you want people to feel when they meet with you.
Yeah, I do. So like I've gotten a few notices from VentureX that their offices are shut down this week. If you have the ability to work from home, you're going to pay, if you want co-working, that's great. And yeah, there's a new vibe and a good energy there, but I think it's going to be a few months before those things, I think they're going to take a hit. I really do.
They will. They'll take a hit in terms of residency. Also, just long term, people are going to ask themselves, well, if I was able to acclimate to working so well from home, what did I really need that for anyway? So it's really going to be on them to prove the value of their organization outside of the physical space and maintain that thought leadership in whatever their industry is. So let's talk about maybe membership-based organizations or like a country club or a gym or a co-working space. What are some of the things that you think are on like the employees there to communicate?
Sorry, don't.
What's their responsibility in terms of like communicating the brand value outside of their physical space and offerings?
I think it's definitely up to them to reach out to their members, which most of them are called, so whether they
Yeah.
belong to a co-working space, having that at least, twice a week communications on what's going on. We've doused the place. If you feel sick, stay home. If you, hear things that you can do from home in terms of your health, go on a walk by yourself. Get on, if you have home equipment, exercise on your home equipment. You could certainly do, if the club's got a little creative, they could do a FaceTime live. Like if everybody had a stationary bike at home, you could do like spin class, or you could do, like full body aerobics or whatever they call that, exercising.
Yeah.
Where, those are some cool out there, different things that they can do. Is it different than being in the actual space with other people? Well, sure it is. But you're still doing it and you're keeping your mind. The goal during all of this is not to just feel cooped up. If you feel okay and you're not sick, get out of the house, go for that walk, do some exercises, walk your dog if you got a dog. Don't just sit around, because I think the other problem that people aren't thinking about is, what do we like to do in times of stress?
Eat.
Excuse me. So you could see a spike in, and I'm not a doctor, or, I'm not Nostradamus, but I'm thinking that there will be an increase in weight for a lot of people that are having to work home, because the kitchen
different for me, because I can do, like, I feel like not having time or not having access to my kitchen was a pretty good excuse for not doing meal prep. So now that I'm home, I'm like, well, I'm tracking everything on my Lose It app. I've got a big whiteboard and I'm coloring in the days in which I use the Lose It app to track my food. I'm doing meal prep. I'm like counting out and tracking my macronutrients, all the things that I used to think took so much time. And I would use not being home as an excuse. And now I don't have it. So you can actually use this time to be more organized about the way that you eat and form good, healthy habits.
Absolutely. So had another question from GR saying, do you think the trend to offer people only by doing video interviews will become the new normal? I think yes. Number one, the video interviewing process does a couple of things. First off, it saves time and saves the extra expense of flying candidates in that maybe weren't qualified. So you're going to be saving on airfare. I think you're going to see video interviewing become a more normal. So I think, these groups that are in the video interview space, they're going to be doing pretty well. There's higher.
Are there platforms that you like for video interviews?
I'm sorry, what was the company?
Are there any I'm asking you if there are any platforms that you like for video interviews?
Yeah. So WePow, I think, does a great job. HireView, it's a little expensive, and hopefully they're bringing down their rates. And that's the other thing is, there's Montage. There's several of them out there. But there are also applicant tracking systems, if you have the latest and greatest, that do allow for that video interviewing capability.
Well, the theater community has been doing this for a while with like video submissions, Actors Access, Actors Connection. Like there have been places for you to upload video submissions for auditions. So funny. It took me a really long time to stop saying auditions and say interview. I still say rehearsal when I mean practice, and like, I'm like, what's the football word for rehearsal? People just tell me it's practice.
Practice.
But like the theater community has been doing this for a long time with video submissions from creatives. A lot of times these theater companies have no budget to fly people in for auditions in person, but they'll look at a video and then they can kind of gauge some things about castmate chemistry between people if they bring them into the same virtual room. So we've been doing this for a long time. It was 2009. I started a company called Shakespeare Anywhere, and I was auditioning actors from the UK using Skype. And we held Skype rehearsals, and I was directing a compilation of different pieces that they would put together for this wedding that had a Renaissance theme in the UK. And I was running this from my little tiny itty bitty closet sized bedroom in a 3-bedroom in Astoria that I shared with 2 friends in New York. So like we've been doing this for a long time. You can always just look to the actors to see what we're doing.
Yeah. So Shakespeare, huh?
Shakespeare, huh?
What's your favorite? What's your favorite Shakespeare play?
Midsummer Night's Dream. You know, it's pretty magical. I think that there are a lot of good lessons in it, and it's just there's not another play that I can think of in Shakespeare that has so many very equally weighty, meaty, fun, delicious roles to play. And I just like the whimsy and magic of it too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not depressing like it's others.
Well, there are parts of it that are definitely depressing.
Oh, sure. But it ends well.
Yeah. Yeah, it ends well. Yes.
Well, everybody wants a happy ending, right?
Right.
So,
you know what's funny? Like, Much Ado About Nothing is considered a comedy. And there are plenty of comedic elements of that play. But there is a horrible thing that happens to this woman, Hero, that's her name, in the play. And it's also in A Winter's Tale, there are so many of these Shakespeare comedies that are so heavy and so dark and so miserable, but then everything happens well at the end and nobody dies, so it's considered a comedy. But Midsummer Night's Dream really, truly is a comedy, and I love it. It's one of the most magical. That's one of the only plays that could get me back to a stage right now where I was talking using somebody else's words other than my own.
Well, so that's what you could do. You could act out a Shakespearean comedy on Facebook Live.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, you can do The Tempest, Othello, Merchant of Venice.
Actually, that's not a bad idea. I could do that with my LinkedIn Live and either Social Live or StreamYard or one of those platforms to gather like a full cast and like add people to the broadcast when it's time for them to read a part. That could be a fun thing to do, just to have something that is connective as a group. Like reading something creative as a group together would be a fun thing to do to create that sense of community.
All right, here we're going to play a little game.
Okay. I like games.
You're a Shakespearean know-it-all? Would you claim yourself to be an expert on Shakespeare?
No. I mean, so only because probably more than most people on LinkedIn, but not like more than most people in theater.
Okay.
But
Google. You can't use Google.
Okay.
Or Bing or any other DuckDuckGo. You can't use any of those platforms. I need your eyes on me because I'm the best. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a quote. I'm going to say a quote. You have to name the play. You ready?
Oh gosh. Sure. Let's see if I get some.
Now is the winter of our discontent.
Now is the winter of our discontent. Henry the Fifth. Is that right?
No. Richard the Third.
Richard the Third. There you go.
Yeah. Yes.
Probably should have known that one.
Here we go. All right, here you go.
Okay.
Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness rest upon them.
That's not Shakespeare.
Yes, it is.
Is it really? I thought it was like Roosevelt. I'm not very good at this game.
It's Twelfth Night.
Wait a minute. Some are born great. Who says that in Twelfth Night?
It doesn't say. It just says Act 2, Scene 5.
So Sir Toby? I don't know.
Okay.
I'd love to know. I'd love to know who says that. Okay.
Okay, here's one. Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo?
Yeah, that's an easy one. Okay, so that's Juliet from the balcony scene in Romeo and Juliet. But so many people think that she's saying, like, wherefore? Like, where are you? That's not what wherefore means. Wherefore means why. And it's like, I finally found the man of my dreams. Why must he be from this competing company? Why must he be from this other family, the Capulets that my family hates so much? I wish that you were like any other family name. I want the whole man who you are, but not the family name, not the family association. And so she's begging him into the night without actually talking to him, making prayers out loud that he just will kind of denounce his family in order to be with her, and that she'll be forever his.
That's lovely.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Very good. You're very good
awesome.
at that.
I actually hate that. I hate it so much because I think that if you want to reject such a big part of somebody in order for them to be with you, it's probably not a good match. But Romeo and Juliet were teenagers, and they were thinking, like, you know, with different parts than we use, I think, to make their decisions.
Yeah. And, you know, all right, one more. You ready?
Okay. I hope so.
All the world's a stage, and all men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts.
All the world's a stage is from All's Well That Ends Well? No? Is it the other one that's almost exactly like that?
If As You Like It is
As You Like It, yeah. So it's almost the same story. As You Like It.
Great answer. So, well, we've been talking for 48 minutes.
I need to brush up my Shakespeare.
Yeah, you need to brush it next time.
Yeah.
Well, when you go live, what we can do is you can be one and I can be one. Maybe we get some others. We get like Adam Posner.
Oh my gosh, he would be so great in some Shakespeare stuff.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I think we should totally do a Shakespearean play.
Okay. We'll do it.
Yes. So, well, hey, Lila, it's been great having you on, and I've enjoyed the discussions we've had. We've talked about a lot. I don't know how we got to Shakespeare, but that's
what I used to do. Yeah.
It's cool. I like it.
And we were talking about remote interviewing and remote auditioning.
Correct. And you didn't get the gig because you didn't know any of the words.
I guess I'll just have to keep trying to say things better instead of doing Shakespeare anywhere. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, hey, everyone, stay healthy, stay safe. We'll be on next week. And this has been fun. I hope you've enjoyed it. Lila, have you enjoyed it?
Oh, yeah. I always enjoy time with you, and great to have the questions from the audience. I know that G already had some good ones, and there was one from somebody else who I knew. But, yeah,
well, it was everyone. Thanks everyone, and have a good week. Stay in your home, wash your hands, whatever else you got to do. Just stay clean.
Wash everything. Healthy. Yeah.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Wash yourself.